Hi, my name's Julia Cato, and today I'll be presenting on my strategic analysis and recommendations for Netflix. First up, let's go ahead and go over each of the components that we'll be discussing in today's presentation. First up, we're going to give a general overview of each of the matrices within the strategic analysis. Next, I'll give my recommendations for best business decisions for stakeholders and business leaders within Netflix. Third, I'll go over the Christian worldview and the implications of business practices within the greater good. And finally, we'll view my references. First up, let's go over the strategic analysis and each one of the matrices within it. This will be a high-level overview, so I'd encourage you to view the full strategic analysis in order to view each matrix separately. First up, we have the competitive profile matrix, or the CPM. The CPM measures Netflix against two of its top competitors, Amazon Prime Video and Disney Plus, against several critical success factors, including content library size and diversity, original content production, user experience interface, and several more listed here. Netflix has a total score of 3.8, which is higher than both Amazon Prime and Disney Plus at 3.16 and 3.12 respectively. Next up, we have the ratios analysis, which gives both a historical record and projected ratios into the future on several ratios listed here, including the current ratio, the quick ratio, the total liabilities to total assets ratio, including many more. Next up, we have the internal factor evaluation, or the IFE matrix. This matrix lists several strengths and weaknesses that are specific to Netflix as an organization and gives Netflix a total IFE score of 3.17, listing several of their strengths and weaknesses here. Next up, we have the external factor evaluation, or the EFE matrix. Coupled with the IFE matrix, this shows the external factors for Netflix, including opportunities and threats, giving Netflix a total EFE score of 2.6. Next up, we have the SWOT matrix, or the SWOT analysis, which uses those strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats given to us by the IFE and the EFE matrix in order to produce strategies that Netflix should use to continue to build a competitive advantage. First up, we have SO strategies, which stands for strengths, opportunities. These are strategies where Netflix is able to use their strengths in order to capitalize on an opportunity. Next, ST strategies, which stands for strengths, threats. This allows Netflix to once again use their strength, but this time in order to overcome or eliminate a threat. Next up, we have WO strategies, which stands for weaknesses, opportunities. This is Netflix's opportunity in order to overcome a weakness to capitalize on an opportunity. And finally, we have WT strategies, which stands for weaknesses, threats. This allows Netflix to overcome a weakness in order to mitigate or eliminate a threat. Next up, we have the Boston Consulting Group Matrix, or the BCGM. This breaks down Netflix into several different components, including their streaming services, original content production, and DVD rentals. And it judges them based on two different criteria. The first is on the y-axis, which is the industry sales growth rate. And the second is on the x-axis, which is on the relative market share position. Here we can see that both Netflix's streaming services and original content production have both a high sales growth rate and a high relative market share position, placing them in the most desirable component of this matrix, the stars component. However, DVD rentals, which has both a low industry sales growth rate and a low relative market share position, this places it in the dogs category. Next up, we have the internal external, or the IE matrix. This breaks up Netflix into several regional divisions and gives the most profitable and the least profitable based on the total IFE and total EFE weighted scores. The most profitable division is the United States and Canada, while the least profitable division is Asia Pacific. The next step is the Quantitative Strategic Planning Matrix, or the QSPM. This uses 2 strategies and compares them against the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats found in the IFE and the EFE matrix. Strategy 1 is to add an additional tier of membership in order to attract viewers who are looking for a more cost-efficient way to watch Netflix. This has a total attractiveness score, or a TAS, of 3.39. Strategy 2 is to partner with new organizations in order to create new content. This has a total attractiveness score of 3.51. Next, we view the organizational chart, which gives a structure of the leadership from the top to the bottom. This would give our team a good idea of who we need to talk to in order to provide our recommendations for strategies in the future. Next, we have the perceptual map. This maps viewers and customers' perceptions of both Netflix compared to its competitors, Disney Plus and Amazon Prime. It's based on 2 different factors. First is subscription flexibility. Second is content breadth or diversity. As we can see here, Disney Plus does have the highest subscription flexibility, with Netflix in second place, but Netflix does have the most diverse content, giving it a good position on the perceptual map. Next, we did a valuation of Netflix using 4 different strategies, including the net worth method, the net income method, the price earnings ratio method, and the outstanding shares method. We came to a valuation of $213,087,407. Next up, we have the EPS/EBIT analysis. This shows the profitability of debt financing versus common stock financing. As we can see here, while debt financing is a much more profitable method than common stock financing, we do recommend a 50-50 financing method, which uses 50% debt financing and 50% common stock financing in order to mitigate the risk of debt. Next, we look at projected financial statements and ratios, which gives the projected information for all of these tables from 2024 to 2026. Specifically within financial statements, we look at both the projected income statement and the projected balance sheet. Here's more information on what the projected income statement might include, including revenues, cost of goods sold, gross profit, operating expenses, and so on. The projected balance sheet, on the other hand, looks at the assets, liabilities, and equity. Next, we have the retained earnings table, which shows how much of the retained earnings Netflix is keeping in order to continue to invest in their goals rather than paying out stocks and dividends to stockholders. Next, we have our recommendation, the steps that Netflix should take in order to gain a competitive advantage. We do recommend a live streaming service to be adapted into Netflix to create live streaming platforms by utilizing user-friendly interface and innovative culture. This uses several strengths of Netflix from the IFE and the EFE matrix, including their user-friendly interface. Netflix's platform is extremely easy to navigate, and adding on a live streaming feature to watch up and current new events would be extremely beneficial for Netflix customers and leadership. Netflix has a very innovative culture, which is our next strength. They're willing to take chances, to try new things, and to be able to achieve something that someone hasn't achieved before. And finally, effective distribution. Netflix is extremely effective at distributing their content, whether original content, content from another source, or adding a live streaming platform. They would be able to effectively distribute this content to their viewers and customers. And finally, this does take advantage of one of the opportunities within the EFE matrix, including live streaming events. This would give customers the opportunity to be able to view events such as sports, political events, or even holiday events like the Macy's Day Parade. The view for this recommendation would be that Netflix would be the only needed subscription for families so that they would be able to have a cost-efficient way to watch all the entertainment that they need right in one easy to access location and platform. We recognize that all of these recommendations mean nothing without a greater purpose behind them. So now we will be viewing the Christian worldview and business practices for a greater good. Netflix's mission statement is to help users find their next story because good stories can be found anywhere and enjoyed everywhere. At Netflix, they truly believe this by spreading their impact across the globe, which aligns with their vision statement to entertain the world. Netflix has truly done this, being a catalyst for change around the world as viewers around the world are able to enjoy stories in their homes, with their families, and with their friends. Colossians 3:23 says, "Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters." At Netflix, the goal is to do everything to the best ability that they can do. And I believe that they would be able to achieve something spectacular by focusing on their mission and vision statement, as well as a higher purpose of doing things to the glory of God. Here, we produce high quality content and can change the world by doing something that people before never believed could have been done. We recognize that these recommendations will come with a very high cost, and therefore we want to provide substantial research that was conducted on each one of these matrices and recommendations. So here I have provided all of my references. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you very much.